another hair review. Finally, I have some beauty supply store hair that I've already used before. One of them I have, one of them I haven't, and they're two curly hair types. Y'all know I love curly hair, and curly hair is perfect for the summertime. So, and as we creep into summer, we're in spring now, it's getting a little warm. It was actually hot today here. We have some hair that we can wear. So y'all have seen this before. This is the Shake and Go Naked Nature Brazilian Virgin Remy hair. This is the hair, you've seen this before in, what is this? Is this Bohemian Curl? Yeah, this is the Bohemian Curl in 18, 20, and 22 inches. And I have the Naked Nature Brazilian Virgin Remy hair in the deep wave. This is what they look like in the packaging. The difference between the two, the Bohemian Curl has like a brown top and the deep wave has blue. So that's the difference in the packaging. Let me go ahead and pull it out so you can see how different the bundles look, because they're both wet and wavy. And what I wanted to do is show you the differences in this hair, and then I'll show you a little surprise at the end what I will be doing with this hair. Well, it's not gonna be a surprise, girl. I'm basically gonna combine it to make, these are two different curl types, but it makes the hair bigger, fuller, more life in the hair. So let me go ahead and pull the hair out. 1 second. So I already took the bundles off, but I just wanted to go ahead and show you what it comes with, what this closure looks like up front, up close. They both have silk based closures. They both look very, very similar. It's just the hair texture is a bit different, of course, because they're two different types. This is the Bohemian Curl and this is the deep wave. Let me show you the difference in the hair texture. I can immediately tell the difference between this hair, and I'm sure you can too. This is the 18-inch bundles. Again, I got the 18, 20, and 22 inches. The silk base closure is 18 inches. This hair right here, this is the Bohemian Curl. Let me go ahead and show you. It's very, very soft. It looks like blow-dried hair. It's really kind of puffy. I do like the texture of it. It's very similar to my hair or most black girls' hair when it's blow dried. So this is kind of like what it looks like. Has a lot of movement and it's really soft. Now the deep wave is much straighter. It's a little bit silkier in texture. It's more like a, I guess you would say this is like a yaki texture, I think. A little bit closer to when it's straight. It's much more, it's silkier. So if you were looking for wet and wavy hair that it's very, very straight, well, more straight and a little bit more silky, but you want it to get curly afterwards, this sort of hair will probably be the best bet. And this hair looks a little bit more blow dried, a little bit more natural. I love this hair type. So this is the difference right here. These are both 18 inches. See, this is what they look like. That's the difference there. So this one's the deep wave and this one's the Bohemian Curl. I should go ahead and wet them. I'm probably just gonna wet a tiny piece just so you can see what the curl looks like. Give me just a second. Okay, so I have wet the hair and I want you all to see what the hair looks like as it dries. So this is the Bohemian Curl and this is the deep wave. The curls are actually very similar. This one obviously is much looser and it has more, it has more like a spiral direction. It's kind of like a 3A and this one's more like a 3B, 3C. This one has a little bit more frizz to it. This one's a little bit smoother, I guess. But this is the difference between the two. But they both curled very nicely. They both feel very moisturized. I use just water and a little bit of my Cantu Coil Calm Detangler. I've used that in my curly hair routine for this Bohemian Curl hair. So if you want to see what it looks like when I curled it up, you can watch a video that I will link here. And if you want to see a video of my curly hair routine and what the hair looked like when I cut it, I have that video up there somewhere. So, or I'll link it in the description box. So my plan is to use the very longest inches. So I will use the 20 and the 22 inches, and I'm going to combine these two hair types to make the curls look a little bit bigger. And so that's what you'll see me do. So I'll show you the process of what I do. So I'll be back and you'll see me create a U part wig that I'm going to sew down. So I will see y'all in a bit when I'm sewing the hair down on the cap. Now we're finally making our U part wig. These are all of the items that I use. They'll also be in the description box below with links for where to purchase them. This is a styrofoam head. I got that from Sally's Beauty Supply, and I am taking the Bohemian Curl weft in 22 inches, and I folded it in half, and I'm wrapping it around the perimeter of the spandex cap. I'm using the T-pins to secure it. It does take time just to make sure you have it correct and you have it measured correctly around the head. Just make sure you use your T-pins to help you out. As I'm sewing it down, I'm taking the needle and I'm pushing it through the very edge of the spandex cap. And I'm only going through the top layer of the spandex cap. I'm not going through the band that's under the fabric. So make sure you're only going through the top layer. VII Slayer, this is where I got this method from. She's on YouTube and she has a very good tutorial as well as how she does it, and she also does it with straight hair, which it looks really, really good. And as you can see, you have to make sure you sew very, very close together, so when you pull the hair up, you won't be able to see any tracks, and it makes the U part wig look seamless. So the next track that I'm using is the Deep Wave. I'll be alternating back and forth as we get up to the top of the head to make it look a little bit more natural. So as you can see, I'm securing the wefts. I finished the first track as you saw, and I've just flipped it over. I'm going through the corner of the weft. So as I flip it over, I go through the track, I go through the cap and I go through the track and I loop it through to secure the very corners of the tracks to make sure it lays very, very flat. And this method only works if you do it this way and you make it very, very flat. Like I said, as we get to the very end of the tracks and we begin to flip it over, you have to make sure you go through the cap, the top layer of the cap, through the track to secure that edge before you flip over the track. We will not be cutting our wefts unless it's necessary when we get to the very end. As you can see, I'm carefully flipping it over to the and make sure I'm measuring it to the other side of the head and figuring out the spacing between the tracks. I'm taking the T-pins to secure it. I've sped up this part, but it does take some time to make sure you secure the tracks and you have it where you want it to be. And the T-pins are your best friend. So as you can see, I'm getting the thread under the track there first. Now I'm going through the cap, through the track, pulling it tight. Through the cap, through the track, and pulling it tight. And we only do that to secure the edges of the tracks, so we don't have to cut them and we have them laying very flat. And then you just continue along the track, sewing down very, you know, very normally, nothing really spectacular. So it's through the cap, under the track, pulling it through. Now we're going to customize and install our silk base closure. I don't like the silk base closure. It doesn't look natural to me. As you can see, it's supposed to be silk base, but you can see the venting through the lace there. And at the sides, you can see the tracks. And that is the part that we're going to use. We need those tracks. So if you want fuller hair and you only buy one, all you need is one bundle, but if you want to really get use of all the hair, you can use this method if you're doing the U Part wig. I'm cutting off the excess fabric, and there's a lot of fabric on this closure, that's why I don't like it. So I'm just going to pull it up into a ponytail to get the hair out the way. And I'm going to secure it onto the top of the U Part wig that I've not yet completed. And I'm using all the T-pins. Like I said, these T-pins are your best friend. So I'm just pinning it down, and this is the method that you would use if you were actually going to use a silk base closure as it is. I'll just be cutting out the center to make it a U part. So I'm just sewing it down pretty normally. This part is fairly simple and easy, especially if you use the T-pins. I'm just using the lace around the closure to make sure I secure it. And I secured this closure in a special way just to make sure the knots are there. I push the needle through the cap, through the fabric around the edge of the silk base closure, wrap the thread around the needle 3 times, pull it through, pull it tight. That creates a knot and it secures the closure there. I just cut off the excess thread, and now I'm cutting out the very center, the knotted area where the lace is of the closure. That's the part I don't need. So I'm just cutting it off, and that's what you can see there. I'm also cutting the front part off. I'm cutting off the lace off the front of the closure. And I'm also sewing that part down as I did the tracks, the front part of the closure. So it's not flopping around when it's time for me to sew it down to my head. Now I'm cutting out the center of the spandex cap to finish off the U Part wig. And that's it. So now we're going to install the U Part wig. This is my braid pattern. I only left my hair out in the crown U part area and as well as on the edges so I can pull the hair up, but I did not leave any hair out in the back because I just want to make sure I protect that hair that's in the very back of my head. So as you can see, I'm going to sew down this cap in sections. I start off in the U part area. So as you can see, I'm just make sure you're careful and you don't go through your leave out area. I just go under the braids, through the U part wig, and I pull it through. Under the braids, through the wig, pull it through. It's fairly simple. So I'm done with this section. I'm going to pull that through and tie it in a knot. Well, cut the thread, tie it in a knot. I do it in sections because when you use one thread to pull it around, it can tug at your edges, and I'm not trying to do that. Now I'm going to start on the very perimeter of my hair. I'm just going to do as I did before, under the braid, through the cap, pull it through. And you can make the sewing as close together or as far apart as you like. It's better if it's closer together because it's more secure, but if you want to protect your hair, you don't want to have all that thread tugging at your hair, you can do it further apart. It'd be easier to take off as well. So I'm going around the back of my head, and I'm going to stop here, and then I'm going to start back at the front and go around just to make sure If there is excess cap, if the sizing of the cap is a little bit too big, it's important to go around the front so excess bunching of the cap will be at the back of your head if you didn't size it correctly, and I've done that before. So there it is, we're almost done. We're pulling the last stitch through and cutting off that needle, tying it in the knot. And I think I forgot to cut this thread so y'all can see it from the front. Looks crazy. Letting out my leave out, and this is what the hair looks like. It is so beautiful. Look at it. Slow motion for you. Ow. So that's how the hair looks. It is beautiful, and I did blow dry my hair before, so I'm able to wear the hair blow dried for a couple days. I also wore this Shake and Go Bohemian Curl hair for my wedding as well. It was beautiful. I wanted this look, and it looks really nice. So you can wear your hair like this, and I'm just showing you what it looks like to pull the hair back. And my edges are thin, so if you have thick edges, it's really gonna cover it up. And that's how long it is, 22 inches, baby, yes. And come back next week to see the hair curly. I'll see you next week. Thank you for watching. Bye.